Hello, students. So, today we are going to start with a new topic of sociology, that is, social problems of women and children. As we know that many studies reveal that both professional and non-professional women experience heavy stress. We all see that women face a lot of challenges and a lot of problems and stress, heavy stress due to the gender bias. Although women have proved the best of their abilities in the various fields of the work at par with men. So earlier the fields which were reserved only for the male, now the women have entered in those fields and carved a niche for themselves. They still continue to have a grip over their household responsibilities, balancing very nicely and wonderfully on both the fronts, professionally as well as household responsibilities. She is just carving a niche for herself in the society. In spite of their hard work, women have been given second importance in their field of work. So women are working very hard and just with shoulder to shoulder with the men and in and but then also their work is less recognized and they always hold a secondary seat and or secondary position in the society. So if we talk about the status of women in India has been subjected to many change over the span of recorded Indian history. Their position in the society deteriorated early in the India's ancient period, especially in the Indo-Aryan speaking religion, and their subordination uh, continued to be refined well into the India's early modern period, and practices such as the female infanticide, dowry, child marriage, and the taboo on the widow remarriage, which began in the upper caste Hindu society in the northern India, have had a long duration, providing difficult to root out in the instance of dowry have spread to all castes, classes, and even religion. So in India, the status of women has witnessed many great changes over the past few centuries. From equal status with men counterparts in the ancient time through disregards of the medieval period to the promotion of the equal rights by many reformers, the history of women in India has been a mixture of events. In modern India, women have held high offices, including that of the President, PM, Speaker of the Lok Sabha, and the leaders of the opposition. However, women in India continue to experience atrocities such as the rape, acid throwing, dowry killing, and the forced prostitution of the young girls. If we talk about the ancient India, historians have viewed that in the ancient period, India women enjoyed equal status with the men in all aspects of life, and so we find that women enjoyed a very good position in the ancient time. According to the state studies, women had equal status and right during the early Vedic period. However, during the 500 BC, their status began to decline. We can find the references with the Smrtis, Manu Smrtis, and with the Islamic invasion and the Mughal Empire and the late Christianity, restricting women freedom. During the medieval period, women's position in Indian society was when child marriage, sati, and a ban on the widow remarriage became part of social life in some communities. And Muslim conquest brought parda to Indian society among the Rajput of the Rajasthan. Johar was practiced. In some part of India, the Devdasi or the temple women were sexually exploited. In Muslim, women were restricted to janana areas of the house. And despite of these circumstances, some women got prominence in the field of the politics, education, and religion. So now in India, women also played a prominent role in the Indian struggle. We cannot forget this for the freedom of India and Dr. Annie Besant, Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, Durga Bai, Aruna Asif Ali, and Jhansi Ki Rani. Now women in India participate in the fields such as education, sports, political, literature, media, art, culture, service sector, science, and technology. So we have seen that the status of women is changing and has witnessed many great changes over the past few centuries. The patriarchal family system that prevails in India gives more rights and authority to the male, enabling them to enjoy more power over the female in the family. So, in India the patriarchal system is there, so because of the patriarchal system, all the decisions in the family are taken by the male person. So, the women is always subordinated. uh, Women are considered inferior, secondary, individual to men. That is the reason behind it. So they are suppressed, oppressed, harassed, subjugated, and deprived of even their basic rights till date. Atrocities and the crime are committed against them by their own families, by their own family members. And there are various problems which are faced by the women. Uh, wom- uh, Many of the problems are faced by the women, like the acid attack. So, Thomas Whittier's Foundation survey says that the India is the fourth most dangerous place in the world, or in the world, for women to live in. The survey itself has been criticized for bias, and women belonging to any class, caste, breed, or religion can be the victim of this cruel form of violence and disfigurement. Uh, Premeditated crime intended to kill or maim permanently, and act as a lesson to put women in her place. In India, on women, acid attacks on women. We can say that. Who dare to refuse a proposal of marriage or ask for divorce are a form of a revenge, as it is cheap, easily available, and the quickest way to destroy a woman life. The the number the number of acid attackers attacks has been rising. If we talk about the next, that is a child marriage, we can see the child marriage has been traditionally prevented in India, but it is not so continued in modern India to this day. Historically, child brides would live in their parents until they reach puberty. In the past, child widows were condemned to a life of a great agony, shaved head, living in an isolation, and being shunned by the society. Although child marriage was outlawed in 1860, it is still a common practice. If we talk about the next, that is the domestic violence, it's very common that the domestic violence and the dowry, very common. Domestic violence in India is endemic, and around 70, or we can say that an 80% women in India are the victim of the domestic violence. According to Renuka Chaudhary, former Union Minister of the Women and Child Development, domestic violence was legally addressed in 1980s when 1983 Criminal Law Act introduced Section 498A, husband or the relative of husband of women, subjecting her to cruelty. So, in India, domestic violence toward women is considered as any type of abuse that can be considered a threat. It can also be physical, psychological, or sexual abuse to any current or former partner. Domestic violence is not handled as a crime or complaint. It is seen as more as a private family matter. In determining the category of a complaint, it is based on the caste, class, religion, bias, and the race, which also determines whether the action is to be taken or not. These women are guaranteed. The Constitution has also providing now support to them, and these women are guaranteed constitutional justice, dignity, and equality, but continue to refuse based on their socio-culture context. And as the result, the women refuse to speak of the violence and find help. They are also not receiving the proper treatment. female infanticide, we talk about the dowry, as I said that in 1855, the dowry provision maintained and listed of the present to the bride and the bridegroom rule were framed. According to these rules, a signed list should be maintained of the present given at the time of the marriage to a bride and the bridegroom. The list should contain a brief description of each present, its approximate value, the name of who has given the present, and the relation to the recipient. However, such rules are rarely enforced. So dowry demands in the wedding arrangement is illegal. However, many cases of dowry related domestic violence, suicide, and murder have been reported. In the 1980s, numerous such cases were reported, and this has not stopped till today. Also, plenty of there is a high rise in the dowry death and suicide cases because of the dowry, and many of the female, because of the dowry, the parents are unable to marry them, and the dowry problem is also there women facing. Honor killing have been reported in the northern region of India. Mainly, the women are also facing the honor killing, mainly in the Indian states of the Punjab, Rajasthan, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, as a result of a girl marrying without the family acceptance, and sometime for marrying outside her caste or religion. The the parents, they go up to honor killing for their respect, for their ego, for their regard, for their respect in the society, to maintain respect in the society. And if you talk about the Haryana is notorious for the incident of honor killing, which have been described in the chillingly common in village of Haryana. And in contrast, honor killing are rare to non-existence in the South India. And if you talk about the Maharashtra and the Gujarat, in some other parts of India, West Bengal, honor killing completely ceased about a century ago, later largely due to the activism of the influence of the reformists such as Vivekananda, Ramakrishna, Vidyasagar, and Raja Ram Mohan Roy in in 20 in 2010, the Supreme Court of India issued notice in regard to honor killing of the state Punjab, Haryana, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, Himachal Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh, etc. And if we talk about the honor killing, then rape. We have then there is a great list of the crime against women. Rape in India has been described by Radha Kumar as one of the India's most common crime against women, and by the UN's Human Rights Chief as a national problem. So in 1980s, women rights group lobbied for the marital rape to be declared unlawful, but the Criminal Law Amendment Act 2013 it still remains the material exemption by stating its exceptional clause under the section 375 that sexual intercourse or the sexual act by a man with his own wife, the wife not being under 15 year of age, is not rape, while the per capita reported incident are quite low compared to other countries, even developed countries. A new case is reported every 20 minutes. In fact, as per the NCRB data released by the government of India of 2018, a rape is reported in India in every 15 minutes. New Delhi has one of the highest rate of rape reports among the Indian cities. So next, sexual harassment problem, if teasing, this is a very common problem. These are the problem which women are facing, and women and trafficking problem. The immoral traffic act was passed in 1956. However, many cases of trafficking of young girl and women have been reported. Gender biasness, yes, gender biasness is another thing which women are facing. Discrimination on the basis of the gender, lack of education, the still the women are not getting proper education. If we talk about the villages or villages, and many of the families, the parents is still considered give priority to the boys education and not to the girls education, because they believe that after gaining the education, the girl has to get married only, and the boys are going to run the families. Lack of job opportunities, a similar problem she's facing in the job opportunities. The jobs, there are some fields which are restricted for the male only, or we can say the male dominance can be seen in those fields, and there the women won't get any chance. But nowadays women are sealing in the male world, and they are the time, and they have entered in those field also. Now the women are the metro pilot metro now the women are driving the metros also, and the they are the pilot, they are the journalist, and on the many other post they have grabbed now. So lack of job opportunities, as I said, now it's a little bit weakened, and it's vanishing, but it's still women, majority of women, they are finding lack of job opportunity, lack of good health. The health facilities are also not provided to the women. The women is neglected in the health sector. Low wages, yes, another issue women is facing. This is also a social problem. Low wages, the equal talented women is facing the problem of the low wages, because she's equally talented, but she's not getting the wages to the equivalent to the male, as the male are getting, though the male is also equally qualified, but then also she's not getting, she's experienced equivalent to the male, but then also she's not getting, she's always appointed on the low wages because of the responsibility of the home, and she has not given chances to move on the promotion. And then the property rights not given to the women. Now the laws are there, and neglected during the childhood, and the women, and when a girl is born, the family it becomes sad, and when a male child has taken birth in the family, it's a party time for them. So the girls are not welcome in a child. Still, though the society is educated and thinking, the mentality of the people is changing, but then also they are finding these problems. And if you talk about the children owning to their developing mind are vulnerable to the environment they are in. It is of the utmost importance such environment is made suitable for their growth and development, regardless of whether child is conflict with the law or not, to be given adequate care and protection of the law. No nation can flourish if the children of such nations suffer. Therefore, India, with the help of the various international, national and state mechanism, tries to secure the right of children and falling at the challenges which uh, stares into the child rights in India. The children are facing the hunger problem. They are not getting adequate food to eat, and this is the basic amenity, and they are not getting this thing. And the malnutrition problem they are facing, morality problem they are facing, child labor. Many of the children, those who are below 14 years of age, you can find that they are working in the dhabas nearby, as well as in the tea stores, and in the home of the the home of the of the richer person in the home. In our homes also, in the people, in the various people home, they are working as domestic helpers. And so we should try not to put them in classes, and we should try to put them in classes. And the sexual assault also, the child is the children are facing, either girl or boy, both are facing the sexual assault. And health, education and nutrition problem the children are facing. As I said, they are not getting the nutritious food, even they are not getting the two time food, proper food to eat, as and the education, which is is the very important for the grooming of the child, and so they are not getting the proper education, the health education and the nutrition, and nobody is there to guide them regarding all these things. Though the policies and the programs are made by the government, and they are coming with good results also, but then also the success level is not up to the mark, and still need to be geared up the things regarding this field, so that the women and the children, these are the important, uh, they play a very vital and important role in the society, so that we can say that so that they can get a better status and better life in the and a better life. And so at last I just want to uh, say just a few things, and just a few line about this women, regarding the women of Swami Vivekananda, that centuries, and that the nation, that the country and that nation which did not respect women have never become